This video is sponsored by Winter Survival, available now on Steam via Early Access. What starts as a nice little hike with friends quickly turns into a fight for your life. If you want to live, you'll have to be mindful of the freezing temps, thirst, and hunger, as well as the surrounding wildlife, but try to keep a clear head, as the game's unique sanity system takes survival to the next level. Travel through snow-covered forests, dangerous mountains, and frozen lakes as you grapple with treacherous terrain, deadly animals, and harsh winter conditions. Find shelter, cook meals, and rest up, ready for the next day, which hopefully won't be your last. Survival is dependent on the choices you make in the game. Uncover the mysteries of the land in story mode, risk your life in the ultimate survival experience of Cold Wave, or conquer the world around you in endless mode. Winter Survival is out now in early access, so head on over to the game's Steam page to start your survival story today.
Hello, welcome to the Windbreaker podcast. I'm Yahtzee Croshaw, as always. I mean, I haven't changed my identity lately. And I'm joined by Frost.
As also always, no, I've not always been Frost, funny enough. For now, Frost for now.
And also Marty.
Frost? Yeah, I've been Marty. Well, I guess my birth name was Martin, but Marty mostly.
Didn't you ever use an internet sobriquet? That's how I became Yahtzee.
My initial internet name was HBK182 after the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels and Blink-182, the hip band.
See, that just gets me like one of them personalized number plates where you look at it and it's just like 3 random letters and numbers and you're like, well, what's the point of a fucking personalized number plate if it isn't immediately obvious what it means?
It's not for you. What?
I'm sorry we all don't keep our names as such great secrets as you do, Yats.
It's a form of thieves' cant.
Thieves' cant.
Only Heartbreak Kid and Blink-182 lovers will understand.
Yeah,
Well,
and never the twain shall meet.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. But speaking of arcane knowledge, this week we're talking about secrets in video games. Possibly because we've all been playing quite a bit of Animal Well lately, which is very secret-focused, as all the best Metroidvanias are. But secrets, of course, go way back in video games. Wasn't the very first one that in the old Atari game Adventure, where the designer snuck their name into a secret room because it was literally the only way he could get credited?
Yeah, and it took like months or years for someone to find it, and I think Atari was so tickled pink by it that I think Warren Robinett was the name of the designer, that they ended up adding secrets and Easter eggs to the rest of their games because they thought it was such a neat little thing.
It really does seem to have become almost essential part of video games. I'm thinking of the 90s shooters, of course, that would always have number of secrets found as a percentage at the end of each level, as in Doom and Wolfenstein 3D and Duke Nukem 3D. So why do you think it became such a endemic and almost essential part of video game design?
I see 2 reasons. One, I guess the cynical one is it feels a little bit like free marketing. It feels a little bit like it's providing topics for kids to talk about on the playground. And you start whispering secrets that might not even exist in a game. Because also I feel like video game secrets are also linked to, at least when I was growing up, playground lies of things that can't happen in a game, of saying, oh yeah, you can unlock Luigi in Mario 64, or oh yeah, Mew's just under that truck. You can get him. So it feels like a way to sort of spark conversation about the game, but also it feels like a way for people who are in the know to, Frost, you mentioned Thieves Can't, almost feel like there's a community or like a secret club of I've played the game, but have you played the game?
Oh no! Now it turns into gatekeeping. But do you really know?
Yeah,
how to
that's
do
nice
the Mario
gatekeeping.
World skips. That's
Fun
at 1, 2, and 6, 5, and
yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a way to sell magazines as well, wasn't it?
Sure.
Be able to publish the cheat codes because they weren't going to tell you what they were in the game.
Yeah.
I think part of it for me is that one of the most essential elements of game design is exploration and discovery. And obviously, the best way to get exploration and discovery to work is to have things to discover. And one of those things is secrets, and that's why we all spent all that time in Doom and Duke Nukem 3D, just running along walls, spamming the use button, as the character went, uh, uh, uh,
Yeah,
uh.
that's it. Yeah, that's why.
What
That's why we went for it.
what was there? Yeah, we weren't just listening to that sound to help. No, because what was it Doom 1 or Doom 2 where you could find John Romero's like head on a pike?
That was the end boss in Doom 2, where you
Uh,
couldn't actually find it if you were playing the game legit. But if you no-clipped through the wall
Sure.
to the center of the big boss, you would find that in the center of his head was, as you say, John Romero's head on a spike, which was actually
Yeah.
the thing you needed to damage in order to kill the boss. It
Mm.
was like his glowing weak spot.
Happens to the best of us. Yeah, the shooters of the 90s and fighting games always seem to have like a big, oh, this
Mm.
character could be unlocked. Like, oh, you can unlock Ryu and Ken's master in Street Fighter 2. And then that almost got a life of its own to where like Akuma became a character in the games. The same
Yeah.
thing with like the Mortal Kombat ninjas. Oh, there's these secret ninjas at the bottom of the pits.
Yeah, well, the olden times they didn't tell you what all the moves were in fighting games. You just
Yeah.
had to figure them out. There was this whole arcane language. The game just didn't tell you, and you had to learn through word of mouth. These days, of
Yeah,
course, most of them will have like practice modes where they'll just flat out tell you what the fatalities are, or you'll have to go through, or you'll have to spend fucking Mortal Kombat fun bucks to unlock them.
an arcane arcade language, you say? Now, they're fun for us, but what do the developers get off on? I think, if anything, the existence of secrets, it just really drives the point through that I think developers are gremlins. Have you left any naughty code in yours that no one will find in any of your games, Yahtzee?
Maybe.
And no one's ever going to see it, but it's there for you?
I guess you could say that. Like, I've got a couple of routines in Starstruck Vagabond where it like creates a text string for a character to say, and there's a bit of, and we have to initially declare the string before you can assign what the text to it. So in declaring the string, it usually says something like, "You shouldn't be seeing this, you big wanker."
Goofs.
See, you've got moments like that. It almost goes back to like when we were in school and you're flipping through a textbook and it says go to page 69 and there's something crude and crass drawn on there. Like the first
like,
hits you might
yeah.
have seen might have been on page 69. As far as you know.
You are brushing against the surface of like an entire subculture of programmer notation. It used to be a big thing back in the like 90s hacker scene where programmers would like leave secret messages in the code for hackers, usually stuff like, "Please don't steal this, you bastard, we're trying to make a living."
There you go. You had what was it, Uncle Sonic? What it was? Some developer left the ability to like gain the source code for an old Sega game because they knew that you wouldn't be able to in the future, so they just left it there for you.
Beautiful. It's a little like time capsule, a gift for the future.
I don't know. I think as much as it is fun to uncover them, it's fun to leave them. It's almost like a relationship where we've built in this way.
Yeah. Well, of course, a lot of cheat codes start out as just dev codes that the devs use to help test the game.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like
there was like a small trend back in like Commodore 64 and Amiga days of the cheat codes for like nice family friendly games to be obscene, so that magazines wouldn't be able to print them.
Yeah.
There was a game called CJ's Elephant Antics, and the cheat code for that was hairy assholes, just written out.
So the cheat code was vulgar, but what it did wasn't vulgar. Did it like give everyone a hairy asshole, or was it just like unlimited lives? Or something?
It was just infinite lives, literally.
There you go.
I was thinking,
and in one of those lives, your asshole is so hairy, it is wild.
Yeah.
I do feel like talking about kind of secrets and stuff in games feels like there's a line of demarcation of before the internet and after the internet, right? It feels like the proliferation of secrets before the internet was, we talked about magazine strategy guys, kind of schoolyard rumors and myths and urban legends and whatnot. Whereas after the internet, it just felt like, you know, the second a game comes out, it feels like everything's been torn apart, which makes the kinds of games where secrets are still left to be found that much more enticing, which is kind of why we got to Animal Well, because the way Animal Well was designed was that these three layers of first layer is you could see credits, second layer is like ostensibly 100%ing the game, and then the third layer is I have put some shit in here that you are all going to have to work together to figure out, and it might take you a very long time to do that.
Yeah, they really have to go all out for that sort of thing these days because, as you say, people will just figure it out with given enough time and hacking. I mean, the way to beat PT was like online on the same day it came out, even though it's the most
It was.
ridiculously obscure sequence of actions you could possibly imagine.
I remember being so that was revealed and released at in Germany at Gamescom, and I was in Germany covering the show. And I remember it was like an evening showcase. They showed the game, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." They didn't say Kojima, anything like that. I went to bed, and then when I woke up, I remember checking my phone and being like, oh, "This is a Kojima project that is also a Silent Hill thing with the help of Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus." Like, fucking, what happened while I slept? So yeah,
Um,
people tore that apart in 12 hours, like you said.
Wow,
I
that
assume
gap.
I assume someone got into the code to figure it all out because then you got cases like Arkham Asylum, where the devs included a secret room that was like hinting at the sequel, Arkham City, but no one ever found it. Like they
Yeah.
had to tell everyone where it was after Arkham City had already come out. It was they had to like use the explosive gel on a specific wall
Like
like 50
several
times.
times also. So it had to be one of those
Yeah.
things. Like there was that invisible
Oh,
wall, I think, in Volcano Manor in Elden Ring that you
yeah.
have to fucking hit like 100 times or something. So it's something that I don't know how anyone would figure that out, but
He lied.
Devs just assume people will hack it these days, and I guess not everyone's got the time to do that.
yeah.
He lied. He said there would be no invisible walls.
But
And they
there's
were,
secrets.
they were everywhere.
But we're getting a bit sidetracked here because we're talking about like secrets hidden in the game by the devs as
Sure.
like a private thing, whereas what we really mean in the context of Animal Well is secrets as a game mechanic.
Ooh.
Secrets concealed about the world for the canny player to find as
Mm.
part of standard gameplay,
Mhm.
much like the Junior 3D stuff as well. The interesting thing about the ones in Doom and Duke 3D is that they'd always have like special bonuses in them, like extra ammo and extra weapons. And when you think about it, that's kind of bad design, isn't it? Because it
Yeah.
means the people who are the best at playing the game get more advantages and just find the game even easier. Whereas people who aren't so good at like, exploring and finding things don't find all the extra ammo and stuff and are more likely to have a harder time.
Yeah, I didn't
Discuss.
get that. It was an old video. This is back when Total Biscuit was ranting about the modern military shooter compared to his dear and beloved boomer shooters, and he was showing some gameplay of someone where it's like a ninja or something, and he was talking about the secrets. It's like you go up in here, and here's the other weapon, and then you go over here. I'm like, if you didn't know that was there, you essentially don't get to play the game. So that to me, like that's where the line is, as you said, like the advantages that you're given, whether you know that it's there or not. Like the original Mario, if you can get like some extra lives, some extra power ups, just because you know there are invisible squares. How's the average person find those?
Well, the Mario squares are kind of insidious. I think you have to walk a fine line. It has to
Right.
be fun to hunt these things, but there has to be something
Sure.
leading you towards it. Like we were talking about this when we were playing Pepper Grinder. Like, and we were started looking for crunchy walls because the crunchy walls was always the indicator of a secret.
Mhm.
Like there'd be like a little bit of texturing that the eye would gloss over, but if you looked for it, you'd see it.
Yeah, it's what Animal Well does a really good job of, like small things on this. Almost every room, I like the second I walk in, I clock all the walls, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's somewhere's gonna have a little path for me to like hop
Yeah.
into and get to a
Little,
little
yeah.
secret nook.
It's like a little shadowy kind of area and whatnot. But let me
Yeah,
tell you, because I don't think either of you have gotten this far. Again, there's items after the first credits roll. You keep finding these items that make you're going to go back through I'm telling you, you're going to do laps on this map and go, fuck, now I know for a new thing to keep my eye out for. Oh my God, I didn't know that was a thing.
well, that feels like the different. There's like games with secrets, and then there's games where secrets are like one of the core tenets, right? You have your stuff like Tunic, Outer
Oh,
Wilds,
yeah.
Fez, Braid, The Witness,
Braid the
LOL,
Witness.
Void Stranger, Braid the Witness. Games where it feels like they were designed specifically to encourage communal discussion and like communal archaeology, I guess. I don't know what you
Dark
would call it.
Souls. Dark Souls was absolutely a game with like community archaeology in mind. I mean, that's the whole point of the leaving messages for other players thing, isn't it?
That's because he
Absolutely.
had trauma as a kid, sort of. We've talked about this. Miyazaki designed that game because of an event that happened in his life where he was trying to get home, like from college or something. It was snowing, and this hill, it was impossible to get over alone. So what the cars would have to do is line up and push each other forward and go over. And he's like, I think about the last guy that would have had to go over that hill. I wonder how he's doing.
He's dead.
Like,
He prepared
he's
to
dead.
die.
Well, it's just like, can you? To me, this is almost, I don't, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself into the like pros, cons of secrets and the red flags or flag on the play. Yellow flag for me, if essentially, the last person that has to go through this can't do it because there's no one else around. There's a few things in Dark Souls that go, I could not have done this without a wiki, without a guide.
Yeah. Finding boss weapons springs to mind. Constructing boss weapons.
DLC. How did we...
The steps required to access the DLC in Dark Souls.
We're even we're even thinking about that in terms of next month when Shadow of the Erd Tree. We're like, all right, we got to go to Mikula's fucking egg behind Moog, and like, what's going on down there? Like, is that gonna be easy, or we're gonna have to do a bunch of weird arcane shit in order to enter the egg? But I do like those AAA games, which I don't know. Part of me with Secrets is kind of weird because I feel like Secrets are much more woven into the DNA of a game the smaller the team. Specifically, a lot of those games I mentioned were solo developer, if not close to solo developers. You know, with something like Animal Well or Undertale or Fez or something like that. And it just feels like
it's much easier to do something. It's much easier to do something cheeky like that if there's less people you have to run it by, I suppose.
Yeah. Same thing with like a Frog Fractions or something. Whereas when you, if you're on a team of 100, you know, you can hide something cute in a wall, but if you're going to really ingrain something in the game itself, you're going to ultimately need approval from people who probably aren't going to approve something like that.
I tell you what I fucking hate is in modern game design is where the secrets are treated like a collectible side quest. And especially in something like a Ghost Train Ride style game, like an Uncharted or a Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, you'll be going down the linear path of the game, and the path splits. And one way leads to progress, and one way leads to a secret, and it's always that.
Yeah,
every single time. And
when did that get popular?
Sometimes you guess wrong and you go down one way and you realize you've gone down the way that leads to progress. So you have to go, oh shit, now I got to go back and take the other fork to see what the secret was. And it turns out you were wrong all along and you were actually on your way to the secret. Now you are making progress. And it pisses me off.
People bemoan yellow paint, but when I'm in a restaurant, if I get up from my table and I'm walking to the back of the restaurant and there's two paths, I want one to just say the bathroom's that way and not I have walked into the kitchen. Where
the secrets in the kitchen?
Like, honestly, I do think like, hey, this way lies progress. Who knows what lies that way? Like, I am much more likely to go, well, I'll check out the other way first before I loop back, because the worst thing is when I was playing, I remember this one playing Plague Tale, the second one, Requiem or whatever, where there would be like two paths, and I'm like, ooh, do I go right? Definitely seems like the way you're supposed to go for the story, so I'll go left, and then it will trigger a cutscene, and I'm in the next level, and I'm like, well, shit, I'll never know what was on that other path because I'm in the next level now.
Yeah, it's something that the Metroidvanias have overcome. They will have moments where they're like, if you go beyond this point, you don't get to come back. I'm like, you know what?
Cry about yellow paint. Did that.
Yeah,
Lost Crown.
Cry about the immersion breaking, but I kind of like that.
Yeah, give me a little warning.
For me, a secret should be something like unexpected you do that the programmers allowed for. Like this was always what secrets in Duke Nukem 3D were about. Like there's no particular reason why in your pursuit to shoot all the aliens and find the keys, you would say press the use key on a poster of a bikini girl. But if you do that, it would open up and there'd be like a secret health behind it. Or maybe the bikini girl would take her bikini off and jiggle her titties around for you.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Pervert.
That's what I want from secrets. No, Duke Nukem 3D was designed by perverts, so they would never call you out for being a pervert in that game.
Right.
Speaking of perverts, you know who's great at designing those kinds of secrets? Kojima.
Oh, I thought we were going to bring up Resident Evil 4, where if you try to look up Ashley's skirt.
Oh yeah, she yells at you.
I was thinking of the Inscription guy.
Daniel Mullins.
Yeah, Daniel Mullins, him and his secrets. Because again, flag on the play here. I don't like these communal secrets that go super above and beyond. I like solving my puzzle out of the box. I don't want a little piece of paper that's like, all right, now go to this website, go to this location. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
You don't want your ARGs.
Yeah, those are starting to
Mm.
trend, aren't they? Those what's the
Well, as
full
you say, they
name?
can't just put secrets in a video game because the internet will have them all within seconds. So now it's got to be this huge worldwide thing.
Gonna
Well, I
take it out
like-
on me? Go to this parking lot at a Wendy's in the dark.
My thing is, I like. I'm kind of with you on that, Frost. Where I like solving the secrets that make sense within the game, and I'm fascinated about the stuff that kind of transcends the game. I don't participate in it, but I like following it afterwards. Like this animal well stuff, I'm not going to be one of the 50 people trying to figure out how all of us work together on this puzzle. Once you have it solved, show me a video and I'll watch it, and that'll be great. Like the same thing with there were hunts for what they thought was going to be like a deleted Colossi in the Shadow of the Colossus remake. There were hunts in the Demon Souls remake that maybe they got the 6th Archstone in there, and then it turned out it was kind of just a secret to get in to get the what's his name, the Pervert's armor? No, the Predator. The pervert or the predator? There's an enemy's armor you can get in Demon Souls. Probably not the
penetrator.
Penetrator.
That sounds pretty pervy
A
to
pervert
me.
and a predator. Yeah, that kinds of stuff. I'm fascinated to find out about it afterwards. Like, I don't want to partake in the scavenger hunt, but tell me all about it, and I will be amused.
Yeah, I like the secrets.
Part of the larger lore of video games.
Mm-hmm.
Those secrets that make you want to go back and play the game. Like as Marty said, I heard about that 50 pieces in animal well thing. That didn't make me boot the game back up. No. But I saw someone else find different tech with one of the items, and I went, "Oh my god, I have to go back in right now."
Yeah,
that's the kind of chase that I want. Very National Treasure, very Nicolas Cage. That's how I want to feel. Instead of like, well, I'm an observer now because I have no understanding of like barometric pressure. So you have to find a meteorologist to help you now. I'm like, okay, I'm bowing out. Let me know how it goes.
You know a game that's pretty much all secret? The Stanley Parable. Mm-hmm. Like the entire game is based around finding secrets in that game.
Yeah, weren't there like specific either endings or achievements you had to get by playing the game like X amount of years?
Yeah,
almost like waiting and loading a save 5 years later or something like that.
Yeah, don't play for 5 years, I think.
Yeah,
don't play 5 years. If you like go through a window that you ostensibly aren't supposed to, there's a whole like scene that unfolds from that. If you try to cheat, it'll teleport you to a police cell and give you a very solid talking to.
Oh, it's just like near, isn't it?
That's become a thing where it feels like secrets a lot of times feel like the game is haunted. Like the developer the developer was like, you are going to try this and I'm going to have an answer to it. And you get that in games like that. You get that in games like we mentioned Inscription or Frog Factions. I guess that's more of like the kind of the fourth wall breaking. I don't know, goof game. I don't know what that genre is called. Meta games. Oh,
there was a like an arty concept text adventure I played once.
Okay.
It was simply called Isle, AISLE.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a simple text adventure. You were in a supermarket, and you were next to the chilled pasta section, and there was a bag of gnocchi. And the point was that you could only type in one command and the game would end, but the game allowed for literally anything. You could sing, you could whistle, you could try to hump the fridge, you get inside the fridge, you could steal the gnocchi, you could just try to pay for the gnocchi like a normal day. And there'd be there were hundreds of different things you could do just with this single text prompt. And it was all accounted for. And some of them would and as you did this, you unlocked this weird background story of this doomed relationship you had, and that the gnocchi reminded you of somehow. And it became this sort of melancholy introspection on returning to normal life after some kind of tragedy.
What the
hell? Interesting stuff.
Wow, I like that. Especially with things that, if anything, the secret just hides that the identity of the game. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What was it? Jack was mentioning this morning how it feels like there's no purpose in Animal Well, but that is one of the later things that you find. In the same way that when I went through Dark Souls, I didn't really note that there was much of a story to begin with until, like, oh, look at all this lore. Look at these sad people.
Give me someone smart like Vati to tell me what the lore is, and then I'll be like, ah, yes, good lore.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to say to the larger like Souls-like community is that they would try to emulate that Dark Souls lore style of play, where they don't tell you everything and you almost need a Vati. I'm like, you're not gonna get a Vati. I'm sorry. Not to say you're not gonna be popular. Maybe you will be, but you might not get a professor of your own lore. Just go ahead and keep the standard secrets. You know, hey, you found a weird looking hole. Have a costume type of thing.
Yeah.
Superland does that, where the secrets are just cosmetics that you can have.
Yeah. There's also the
I guess these days secrets are more likely to be like non-gameplay affecting stuff. Because I was talking about how back in the day you'd get extra weapons and ammo stuff, which was a little bit unfair on people who didn't know how to play. But these days, secrets just go towards 100% completion or whatever. Like in Animal Well, it's just the eggs.
It's more than
I guess
my friend, more than just the eggs.
Yes, all right. I haven't seen as much of it as you guys, obviously.
Making a mighty omelet.
But the eggs in and of themselves don't really have a purpose, except they unlock like extra.
They give me purpose.
Stuff.
Excuse me. Purpose. I liked you mentioned the Arkham one, and I like a cheeky little Easter egg that hints at what a developer will do in the future. Like that, ooh, we had a plan. We knew that after Arkham Asylum, we were going to make an Arkham City. Like that's where the next game was going to be. I remember Uncharted 3 in one of the levels had a newspaper on a counter, and if you looked at the headline, it was talking about how there's fear because of the spread of a fungal epidemic throughout the world, and that was before before The Last of Us had been revealed, I believe. So, like that's one of those things. That's like a cheeky little thing that almost in the moment doesn't mean anything, and then in hindsight, you're like, oh, okay, you kind of knew what you were doing. That's pretty clever.
So did Nathan Drake die in the Last of Us Apocalypse because all the games tied together?
No, it turns out you were immune to it if you had part of your shirt untucked, and he always kept a little bit of his shirt tucked and the rest of it untucked. So he was able to. He was able to survive.
Sounds a bit superstitious to me.
He just has OCD. It's fine. There's also I like the mysteries that took a life of their own and weren't real, but then got sort of a community around them, which I know is like kind of veering into the creepypasta territory, but I feel like reviving Aerith in Final Fantasy VII was one of those, and then you got sort of the creepypasta surrounding like the Lavender Town thing in Pokemon, driving kids insane, or the then drowned the haunted cartridge. Like that stuff's goofy, but I always really liked it. I thought it was like well-made goofs.
Yeah, everyone was convinced there was a nude code for the original Tomb Raider for a while.
Yeah,
only in our dreams.
She could get nude. Marilyn Manson did that thing, you know, that thing.
Yeah.
Is there a point where there is too much secret? Because this was a big outcry for Hello Neighbor 2. The developer was intent on cramming it full of lore-finding secret seeker stuff for the game theorist community with the good old Matt Pat. And he was hounding him on Twitter. Don't you want to dissect our game? Don't you want to find all the lore? And Matt Pat was like, no, not really. No.
Oh, I see. They were trying to... you can't just...
Putting the cart before the horse, right?
Yeah. You can't try to coerce people into that. You have to let it happen naturally.
Very natural and organic. But then it also brings up the point of like the witness. I almost get a little secret overload in there.
The witness. Well, again, that's sort of like the whole point of that game. It's in the sort of same sort of Stanley Parable sort of mold.
Yeah, there's that like probably the biggest holy shit moment I've ever had in a game, which I guess slight spoilers for like the opening 20 minutes of The Witness, is when obviously The Witness is about solving just a billion of these fucking little line puzzles. But the first time you solve a puzzle that exists in the environment, and you're like, wait a minute, the sun looks like it might be the beginning of one of these lines. And then if I draw a line from the sun to this column, and when you realize that there's puzzles everywhere, you start feeling like fucking Charlie and It's Always Sunny, where you're like, oh my God, there's puzzles everywhere. I got to go back. And like you said, Frost, that's kind of the animal thing. Once you get a new tool, you're like, oh, I have to go back to every single room and use this blacklight to see if there's any weird
stains.
Did Billy Basso had any weird stains
looking for the spunk? There's signs in there. But to the point, so I've got those two. My third one here, I don't know if you guys have played Crow Country yet.
I have started on that, yes.
Yeah, it's starting to be almost like a daunting task of secrets, and I don't think it says much about the flow so much as I am starting to appreciate the kind of secrets that I enjoy more, and that be I like secrets in dynamic games, be it platformers, be it shooters, because it goes for a moment. My caveman brain, I have to put it aside, and I have to pick up this scholarly brain of like, oh ho ho, now let's inspect the walls, shall we? It's a nice change of pace here and there. So almost to the point where me, who loves escape room games, I kind of like it when they have some tension in them, a little action moment in it. So
So
I need them
you
both.
like.
I can't
So what
just
you're
do secret.
saying, very long-windedly, is that you like survival horror as a concept.
No, that's awful. No,
Well, I
because
don't
then
know
it's
what.
just like
I don't know
oi,
what to think.
here, have a bit of Tetris, and this zombie's just gnawing at your ass. No, that's awful. Like they both have to be good in their own rights.
Okay. Well, I do like a detective game, as you know.
Yeah, you made one.
I'm excited for you guys to play Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
I have been looking forward to trying that. Yes, we have a code for that.
That comes out
I
on
might-
Thursday, and that is you need a notebook next to you. And Yahtzee, if you want a game that tells you are very smart because you know things, this is a game that if you know things and you bring that knowledge to the table, it will be like you are very smart and you solved this puzzle. It is like incredibly rewarding for anyone who wants to feel smug with their puzzle solving, and that is me.
Well, that
Feeling smug
definitely
with it.
sounds like a game for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I certainly know a lot of random things that apparently you don't, Marty.
No, I had to start writing down I had to start deciphering Roman numerals because I don't know when you get the M's and C's. I'm like, what the fuck is happening down
Oh,
here?
crikey. That's back
You-
to Alone in the Dark, isn't it?
I only know Roman numerals up to whatever the Super Bowl is, and we're not past there, so I don't know.
Thank you for reminding me. Marty, do you remember what No True Scotsman means?
Oh my god. No, it's no true Scotsman would do blank. It's like a way for them to like a nationalized way of saying like, oh well, no true Scotsman would do this, and it's a goof.
No true weeb. How's that?
Is that a good?
Does
Was
that
that a
work for
good
you?
definition?
It's a
It's kind of vague.
it's a logical fallacy. Is
He's
the point?
getting better at it.
I don't know.
It's a moving of the goalposts. It's like saying if we present something that disproves your claim, you then sort of shift your claim in some
Is that like a straw
nebulous
man?
sort of nebulous way. No, it's not the same thing as a straw man.
Okay.
A straw man is where you present a version of the opponent's argument that is clearly absurd, so you can tear it apart like a straw man.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just like every weeb loves Sword Art Online, and then one goes, I'm a weeb and I don't like Sword Art Online. No true weeb would say such a thing.
Gotcha.
So you are essentially just they are not real.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like
So
it's
goalpost
implying.
gatekeeping.
Yeah, it's goalpost moving, gatekeeping, implying some kind of commonly understood fact about something that that you aren't really supplying.
Yeah, if you don't accept it, it's because you're a fake.
We'll see if I remember this next week.
Okay, super chats time. We'll try again next week, and we'll see if Marty can internalize a new fact.
Speaks a fake weeb.
Jomo Slowmo gives 20 Norwegian kroner and says R.I.P. Jasand stream. 7th of November 2023 to 12th of May 2024. Yes, the escapist finally shut that thing down.
What a 6 months it was.
Yes, what a roller coaster of a running gag.
And speaking of 6 months, we are doing our big 6-month celebration bash on Thursday, the 30th, the end of this month, Thursday. We're starting at 10 a.m. Central, a big all-day stream. We'll be cycling folks in and out. We'll be showing off new shows, new teasers, maybe some new merch.
Yes, tell all your friends, especially your rich ones.
Tell your rich friends.
Aren't yet subscribed to the Patreon and really like online content.
Yeah, the poors can come too. We love the poors, but man, the richies. Whew,
we like poors if they can act as a bridge to some richies, possibly in the poors circle of acquaintances.
There you go.
Anyway, Dr. Theo gives $5 and says, thoughts on games whose entire hook are secrets, most notably ARGs like Shipwrecked 64, where it encourages community discovery.
Shipwrecks.
Oh, we were just on that.
I don't know.
I'm introverted, you know. If I need someone else, This is hyper cynical, but it's almost like you're trying to sell me more copies because I'd sooner buy 50 copies of Animal Well than actually converse with 50 other people and find their pieces. It's like the old Pokemon, where if you want these other ones, you have to buy the other version.
You know, community discovery is what killed adventure games.
People, he says, ruined this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, before the temptation of going on the internet and looking up the walkthrough existed, an adventure game could last me for years. Like it took me years to get through Zack McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders on the Amiga when I was a kid. But it was all the more satisfying when I did get to the end.
Yeah, good old Zack McCrack. What if he didn't care about the ending? Because there's some indies, no one's played them, but I'm like, what was that story about? I wish I could just Wikipedia you.
Well, there's probably a long play online.
I'm still laughing at Zack McCracken. I like that sort of communal excitement when a game launches with a smaller group. Like when Elden Ring launched, when Tears of the Kingdom launched, I had little text threads with folks that were all playing it. And we knew sort of like spoiler etiquette and things like that. Like what would be a cool discovery to show people, what would be a thing to hint at, what would be like, hey, has anyone tried going down here yet? And that is exciting because that was one of those things where I'd be like, I am doing this. And then someone would be like, did anyone find this fucking village on the right-hand side of the map with all the jars? And I was like, I want to know about these jars. Where are these jars? Let me find them.
Did you guys hear? Apparently, speaking of, there's a secret cabal of games journos that were discussing Animal Well secrets and really getting into it during the embargo. And I was like, how come I didn't get invited to that? I needed a friend.
Oh, we're not part of their club.
Oh.
I think it might have been in the initial email with the code. So only Nick was invited to the club.
God dang it. Could have made friends.
Frog42 gives $10 and says, I have been enjoying Animal Well secrets. It reminds me of Tunic, which I loved for its detailed hidden secrets. If there's a secret inside of a secret, I get excited. I love rooms hidden in rooms.
I do.
Yeah, Tunic, that's a good one. I like how Tunic would have like secret routes to get back to a familiar place, but it wouldn't be like closed off on that end. So if you already knew it when you started the game, you could just use it and get to a secret place in the game really early.
Yeah, just abusing that isometric view of like, oh, look, it's obscured by this one block that you could have just walked past.
Yeah, Outer Wilds has the same thing. Animal Well has some similar, like going through a new playthrough of Animal Well. I'm like, ooh, I know things I can do right from the start that you can do in any fresh playthrough, but you just don't know it yet because you haven't discovered the thing yet.
Both of them are exceedingly clever, given the genre is already known for being clever, having extra endings, having secrets like that. So
that's Metroidvania.
And I think it is people who I know Andrew Schuldeis, the Tunic developer, has said this, and I would imagine Billy Basso's in a similar boat. But it is people who grew up in an era where they were like consuming not only games but the conversation surrounding games via guides and online forums and things like that. So it seems like we are now making games that were about the experience of talking about games in the 90s, which is now kind of, it feels why we're getting kind of to that meta level and stuff like this and Inscription and Void Stranger and everything.
I mean,
it's metas within meta.
We were there with like Neon White. I was like, this is a meta game about speedrunning.
Pretty much.
How do you make a game about speedrunning? Which I think that's cool.
Frog42 gives another $10 and says, have a bonus dono too. I love the work you guys do. I don't get to catch these live, but I listen at work at night while I drive. Can't wait to see what you say about your favorite video game secrets. Oh, well, if you're listening to this while driving, then look out, there's a truck.
Oh, no.
It's parked. Now you're in a forest. Roll for perception.
Now you're at the Noki crate. What do you do with all this Noki?
Yes. Adam Parker gives $4.99 and says, at what point should a dev reveal any remaining secrets? 1 year, 5 years, never? How long was it after Arkham Asylum came out that they finally had to tell everyone where the secret was?
Was it by the time Arkham City came out?
I think so, because I remember it's got to be pretty humiliating for a dev to do that.
Is it?
Like, well, I guess none of you guys were as into the game as we hoped.
Oh, that is sad, isn't it? It's like finding a really
Yeah.
good spot in hide and seek, and then you have to oust yourself because no one cares.
I mean, it'd be sad if it was a game that just no one fucking played. But like Arkham
No.
Asylum was loved, right? Like,
No, it was
beloved
a
by people.
huge hit.
Yeah, so
It's
that's
just,
more
I
of
guess,
like
I guess we just
finding a
didn't
sweet
think it
spot.
would be the kind of game that would pull that kind of shit.
I guess maybe it was also just early enough to where obviously the internet and YouTube and stuff were around, but it didn't feel like it was. When I started playing Arkham Asylum, I wasn't like, let's see what Twitter has to say about this. I just fucking played the game and talked about it with my friends.
Yeah, it wasn't really the big old age of speedrunning that would come later, where
Yeah.
everyone's picking apart every little secret in every game.
Yeah.
Talk about
Speedrunning,
marketing, though.
It is
Yeah.
crazy how quick those speedrunning things pop up. I think speaking of Crow Country, I think I saw like the speedrun this weekend. Someone hit like 25 minutes. I'm like, Jesus, how did you do
Oh,
that?
boy.
This game has been out for like 5 days.
Well, it's just
I
about
challenge-
posting anytime, really.
Yeah.
I challenge the internet collectively to a Starstruck Vagabond speedrun contest. Okay, here's the saying with no further details. Here's the speedrun challenge: reboot the universe twice.
Oh, Jesus.
We talking about Starfield? What's going on here?
Starstruck Vagabond, my game.
Reboot the universe
Like,
twice.
You heard him. What's
Yes,
on the
there's a-
line, eh?
There's a Chivo for rebooting the universe and another Chivo for rebooting it again after you've rebooted it once. So that's the challenge. Who can do that the quickest?
What
If
do
you
they get?
reboot something twice, does it revert back to its original state?
Yeah.
I think it's like a USB. You have to go once more, and then it actually works.
Oh, like you
Like,
did it right, you did it wrong, and then you did it
yeah.
right again.
Yeah.
Ah!
Weird
Pretty
nonsense like
much. There we go.
Yeah, I guess
Hopefully
speaking of
that'll-
achievements, you mentioned achievements. That felt like a way that developers could kind of guide the player to secrets.
Well,
of-
Stanley Parable very overtly did so. It had one achievement that was just press use on the door for office number 471. And if you
Yeah.
did that, the game would take the piss out of you. It's like, oh, notice the achievement, did we?
Huh?
I mean, I did that for Animal Well. Yeah. As I was getting more secrets uncovered, I'd look in the Steam achievements and go, oh, okay. That kind of gives you a bit of a hint of what's going on
What
there.
do we got going on in here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian J. Lancaster gives $2 and says, "Where is Frost from? I heard him say maths once. I think he's from Mexico, but he's watched an awful lot of British television."
Yeah, Virginia. And also, call me a traitor. It is the short form of the word is mathematics, so it would be maths, plural.
Yeah. Yes, the British way of saying it, maths.
Yeah, it's the maths. It's plural.
I'm
I
going
forgot
to
which comedian said it. Who said maybe it's because Americans only know one. So yeah, it's maths.
Yes,
That's so weird sounding.
Although I noticed that when all the Adventurers Night team were together in Milwaukee for filming, we were playing like a couple of card games, and it came to the point where we had to like add up the points for the two teams, and I was just adding up like 1, 5, 7, 9, 12, 14, and Amy was doing the same thing, blah, 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 blah. And all the Americans were just looking at us like we were from space. Like, how are you counting those numbers so fast?
What?
It's almost like the country
public
you
schools
came
are
from had a
underfunded.
decent education system.
Our public schools are underfunded.
Yeah.
Nicholas J.M. gives $5 and says, "Always great to see Second Wind. Nowadays, I think the best part is finding secrets together, like first month window. Data mining takes the fun out of it."
Yeah, data mining seems like a little like, what are we doing there? No, I guess I don't want to gatekeep. I don't want a one true Scotsman this thing, but I feel like data mining shouldn't be allowed for the first month of a game. I didn't use that right, did I? I didn't even say it right. I don't
Nah,
No.
you were getting there, but
Yeah.
that was
My
No,
heart
that
was in
was-
it, though.
That was,
Yeah.
I don't even know what you were trying to get across there.
was doing it right. Data mining just seems that is you've cheated yourself. That is the you cheated yourself.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
you've got to be the first. You've got to be the first person on the internet to find it and post about it.
Man.
That's how you get the likes.
I don't mean
It's-
anything. Meow meow.
It's
bean.
interesting though, because what is it? Billy was saying you can't data mine his game, which
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything data mined. Maybe he's onto something.
I mean, when you make a game 32 megabytes, it's impossible to data mine. How big is your game? Bigger than 30?
It's a text adventure, of course it is.
My game, mainly because of the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's a lot of
Yeah.
Metallica. He licensed Enter Sandman. The game.
And
it's so good.
Yeah,
I love the music.
I had an original soundtrack made by the guys who did the soundtrack for BPM Bullets per Minute, who got in
Hell
touch
yeah.
because I liked that game so much.
It's great sounding.
It's so good.
Nick the OG member for 5 months in tip jar. Thank you very much. And then Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, "Would cheat codes made by devs count as secrets?" Well, as I say, we sort of had we were working with two different definitions of secrets here: the things you're supposed to be looking for, and the things you aren't.
I mean, if they give it to you in the game, yeah. If it's something that you absolutely, there's no way you could have found this in the box, I don't count that as a secret.
I mean,
That's just an Easter egg.
Yeah, I guess.
Like,
I think of things like
secrets,
people
Easter eggs.
easily overlook, like the Far Cry 4 ending, where if you just sit there, like that's something that 99% of people are just gonna stand and run away and continue on.
You'll
with the game.
overlook, but you can still manage it. Like, oh, I went to do my laundry real quick, and then it ended on accident. Someone actually said that happened to them once.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. But the point is, you wouldn't they counted on most people not doing it because then you wouldn't get to play the fucking game.
Yeah. There's
which
like
turned out
crazy
they put a lot of work into.
Even like the secret characters in Resi 2, like unlocking Hunk and Tofu, like that's stuff that the guide and magazines and stuff made very apparent, but felt cool because it was one of those like, ooh, like only the hardest of hardcore people are going to play the game enough and to whatever you needed to do in order to unlock those two characters.
That's interesting, yeah, because the Binding of Isaac, you can find them naturally, but it would be really difficult because, like, for some of them, it's like beat this same boss 7 times in a row, and it's like, yeah, that's natural, but a lot of people would assume maybe around 3, it's like, oh, that's just the game,
Yeah.
Actually, no, I believe it was the dev saying I had to add achievements and instructions because people thought after they just beat Mom's foot, the game was over. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it can be something for just your hardcore crowd, but if you're gonna put that much of the game behind it, maybe some signage would be all right.
Yeah, I mean, not even that much, but like the Silent Hill goof endings, like you gotta be pretty hardcore to want to get to the dog endings and alien endings and stuff of the game. But it's like rewarding for the hardcore fans.
Yeah,
right?
it was harder to find in some games than in others. I mean, in like the original Japanese ones, you could only get the joke endings on like a second playthrough.
Yeah.
But Silent Hill Homecoming didn't get that memo. You could get the joke ending on your first run through and get very, very confused.
Are you telling me that some of those Western developed ones didn't understand Silent Hill? Is that what you're telling me?
Controversially, yes. I am making that accusation.
Yeah.
Longshanks gives £2 and says, "How much will Starstruck Vagabond be?" I'm glad you asked, Longshanks. It will retail on Steam for $24.99, but if you get it in the first week, we're doing a 20% off launch sale, so you can get it for $20.
Yahtzee, when is Starstruck Vagabond coming out on Steam?
Why, it's coming out on May 24th, in a bare 2 weeks.
What happens on that day? Also, is it your birthday?
Yes, it's also my birthday, and I'll be guesting on the new Dev Heads podcast with Jameis and the other two to talk about the game.
Incredible.
And we're gonna hold a sweepstakes and give out a free copy.
Is it legal to have 4 devs on a single podcast? That sounds wild.
Well,
we're gonna find out.
We might form our own nation. I don't know.
Yeah, one true Scotsman. Am I right?
Oh my god. Under God,
saying it.
Indivisible.
Yes.
With liberty and justice for all.
Just keep saying it, Marty. Eventually, you'll get the right context. Brian J. Lancaster gives $2 and says, "If you suck at combat, secrets can balance it out. But what if you suck at finding secrets as well?" Brian J. Lancaster, that was my point.
I mean, what game can secrets help you if you're bad at the game?
Well, as I say, in Duke Nukem 3D, you can get the rocket launcher really early if you find it in the secret.
Yeah.
There's like Pro Country too. I got to a spot just following normal playthrough, and it's like, you don't have the flamethrower yet. Either it's lying to me, or I just haven't found it yet.
Oh, the little mushroom guy who wants you to upgrade it.
Yeah, I found him.
Yeah.
Did you guys get the
little mushroom man?
Yeah,
no, I haven't found it yet.
Oh,
It's a required item for a puzzle, so you'll use
I
it.
mean, there's a
there you go.
flamethrower. I found like a mounted flamethrower at the mine entrance, but
Mhm.
I didn't think you could take it off.
You can't.
Hmm.
That one is. Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Wait. No. I guess so. It's not necessary because that's a puzzle where you just need gasoline. Never mind.
wait, is this game still embargoed? No, it isn't,
No.
right?
No. No.
It's
No.
out.
It came out a few days ago.
No. Yeah, people
Okay,
have
yeah.
been raving about
Okay,
it.
just
The old,
checking.
what was it? The old Call of Duty games, Black Ops, the zombies. You kind of needed to know the secrets to do. Sometimes you need it for
Yeah.
pack a punching or others.
Those
Other
were like
things.
interesting, like little puzzle boxes of
Yeah,
modes.
they were.
I remember Transit, and I put the hell out of that in Black Ops 2. All sorts of cool secrets there.
Oh, yeah. I was top 5 for like a month.
Damn.
Yeah,
I don't think I was.
my claim to fame.
Eric Weikart doing his thing again, where he does a super chat instead of just talking to us. Gives 50 arses and says, my favorite game secrets are those that I find by accident. Also, the fun value in Undertale. I got the wrong number song on both Switch and PS4.
Hmm.
I don't actually know what he's talking about.
What?
But
I didn't play it on
then-
console. I wouldn't know.
then we get followed up by another different account called Probably Eric, the producer of this podcast, who
What's
also
happening?
gives 50 arses to say, does scrapped or unused content count as a video game secret? If no, what about secret comments, code, or files for anyone looking at the game's files?
Now that is interesting because I was thinking about Zuli the Witch. What they do is that they go into all the old Dark Souls games. They go like look under the mesh, looking at the coding, and they're like, "Hey, look at this unused dragon," you know. And then it got brought out in Dark Souls 3 or something like that. And
Yeah.
are those secrets? It's like
I
archaeology.
don't know. There was a bunch of unused monster models in like Half-Life, and if you play like a few fan-made total conversions, some of them will find a place to just put them in there, just like hanging out, like in a glass tank or something,
Mhm.
because there's no like attack animations or any like actual code attached to it.
Yeah, Dark Souls.
I don't know.
Dark Souls is an interesting example because there are so clearly areas where things were cut. Like you go down to Ash Lake
Yeah.
and you're like, this. Why did you
Yeah.
guys even leave this here?
Yeah,
Which
Oh,
was
yeah.
interesting to be like, oh, why does this exist?
But I kind of like it. I've never actually been there. I've seen the videos and whatnot, but yeah, it didn't affect everything else. There's some secrets that it's like, hey, Symphony of the Night. How many people didn't know about the upside down bit? Oh,
Oh,
dear
yeah.
God,
Yeah.
that would have given me so much anxiety of
And
like,
you would
no,
just you'd get a really bad ending. You'd be like, well, that's not
yeah,
good.
a little too much secret there.
Well, it's also
Yeah.
funny because games then I don't know if this is the case in in Symphony of the Night, but I know games like Castlevania 2, because of its translation and localization, certain hints that made more sense in Japanese were fucking archaic in English.
I
And
think
so it would be like,
you
what
can
does
find-
this even mean?
I think you'll find the inverted castle if you just explore every part of the map in Symphony of the Night, and that's the point. You can go and get the bad ending like fairly early on in the game
Yeah.
before you've explored like half the map. But if you take the time to explore everywhere, then you find the two things that lead towards the thing you have to
Fancy
do.
glasses or something to see the evil orb above his head.
Well, what it is you find two rings, and one ring says where clock, and the other one says in tower, and you put them together and it says where in clock tower. So you put the two rings on, you go into the clock tower, and it opens up an extra area where you find a secret pair of glasses, and you put the glasses on. And yeah, actually, talking about it, there's quite a lot of hoops you have to jump through to get to the inverted castle.
But it's
So that's-
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's possible to intuit. I was talking
Okay.
about in like my video about adventure game puzzles. I was saying that it should be possible to intuit the solution, and I think that's possible here.
Yeah, those are my favorite there. At a certain point, it goes, you had to have gone out of the box, fiddled with the code, or it's just the equivalent of moon logic. You know, like
Yeah.
who would have actually thought of that?
Like no one would intuit how to solve PT.
No. Did you ever have like player's guides or strategy guides as a kid, Yahtzee? Did you ever like use those, or were you like you mentioned adventure
No.
games, bashing your head against them for months or whatever?
No, what I would do is I'd read a lot of different video game magazines, and every now and again, in like the help section, there'd be just someone asking a question pertaining to the specific part of the game I was stuck on,
Yeah.
and they would solve that for them.
I distinctly remember like the only games my dad ever played were some adventure games for PC. I would play like Myst and Riven and shit like that. And I remember we didn't have a guide, and we would get stuck and stop playing for the night. And then I'd wait until the next time we'd go to like a Borders bookstore, and I'd sneak over to the section and I'd read how to solve it. And then I'd feel like I impressed him. And I think he knew that I was a child and didn't actually intuit this, and that I just cheated. And it's fine.
What a little tissue of lies your childhood must have been.
And you
Well,
were
true story.
branded for being a cheater and a
Oh
liar.
no.
Man, no true Scotsman cheats on adventure games.
That's not true. I feel like the Scottish are renowned for cheating in adventure games. Haggis and cheating at adventure games. The two biggies.
That's my Tinder profile.
It's my Tinder
And-
profile.
And insisting on wearing kilts at weddings.
There
I'm entitled to wear a kilt at weddings. My grandfather was Scottish.
Who's
you
going
go.
to stop you when it's your
Stop you.
wedding?
Exactly.
police?
Quite. My own sense of modesty, perhaps.
Hmm.
Because, of course, the traditional kilt, you're not supposed to wear underpants under.
That seems dangerous.
No, see, men should be with the kilts and the ladies can keep the pants. Yeah.
There you go. Because, if every man was freeballing, we'd all have a good time.
We'd be in a utopia, there would be no things to bang against. It would be a much smoother, softer world if we were freeballing.
Might be
There'd
painful to
there'd
have
be little
to...
pisses everywhere. I don't trust
Yeah.
that. We'll be doing little pissies under their kilts. I don't trust that at all.
Different gated community.
What the hell are you doing in your
It's
underpants?
Drippy Willy
People are always
syndrome,
doing little
Yahtzee.
drippies, just little drippies and pre-coms everywhere, and I don't want to exist in that world.
Whoa.
Keep them in your fucking pants.
What's
Not
happening?
something I have to deal with.
Onwards. The
Sorry I
Scotsman
said
got
pre-cum.
weird.
We gotta keep going.
Moving hastily on. Witticism gives $5. It says, playing through DK Tropical Freeze. And I feel like there's always one secret without any kind of tell. You just have to jump off screen. I hate it. Yeah, I always hate it in... I think it was the original Yoshi's Island. Half the game was based around finding all the secrets in every level, and they just didn't signpost them at all.
You just like pound this very random spot.
Yeah,
And something will pop up.
collect these 5 specific coins that look exactly the same as all the other coins. I think they fixed it in like future editions to make the secrets more obvious. But the original release was a pain in the ass for that.
You gotta play a little fair in that way. Blasphemous 2, you do have to find weeping angels, but if you go into a room with a weeping angel in it, you'll hear a little crying as you go through. Very creepy, but also not to bother with all the other ones, so you can really focus.
Yeah,
on that
use
level.
sound. Like use the other elements of the game to really be like, are you listening? Like you can solve this if you're listening. If you're watching a podcast, you're not gonna be able to solve this.
No, because then you need
But
subtitles.
I want to listen to a podcast. Don't oppress my podcast listening habits.
No, don't hide things behind sound. just for the sake of it.
Yeah, because hard of hearing people.
Shit,
Names
well, I
not
guess I'm the
fits.
asshole.
Welcome to sponsor free videos. Names not fits. And then the Merchant of Life gives £5. It says, I personally love how New Vegas did. It's more stilly secrets tying them to the Wild Wasteland perk at level 1, so you can opt into them if you like. Blimey, that
Wow,
was a typing disaster, the Merchant of Life.
Well, if you're gonna read it like that,
Yeah, you didn't even give it a fair shot at the beginning.
We
You
did.
started doing your Yahtzee voice right away.
do an old Shakespeare. Iambic
What is-
pentameter.
Adds additional wacky content and modifies existing content and random encounters. Oh, it's a perk.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
You
like
literally
Baldur's
opt into
Gate 3?
wackiness.
Is it like that zany serial killer perk in Baldur's Gate 3? Is that a secret? That just sounds like a different playthrough.
Oh yeah, the thing where you have like a evil conscience or whatever.
Yeah, like Disco Elysium. Sometimes I play them with like Encyclopedia or maxed out on Inland Empire, so you get new content, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wild Wasteland was sort of like New Vegas' equivalent of the Bloody Mess perk that had been like a staple of the series up to that point,
That's fun.
where it just made things a little bit wackier.
I like that.
Fox D gives $5 and says, "Do cheese strats in sports games count?" No. Discovering the play the AI can't stop and running up the score shares that feeling of discovery. Okay, I don't think any of us play sports games.
I did it was that hockey game Nick was loving. It was a roguelike, but I found that they
Tape
had
to tape?
yeah, tape to tape, tip tap. There was a little spot in the corner where if you always got there and shot it, they couldn't stop it no matter how strong they were. So while it was cool to find, it did ruin the game for me. So
Yeah, I mean it's like a cheese strat, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I got through some Souls bosses by being like, here's my cheese strat, and this is what I'm going to do, and it's fine because we're all cheating at this game.
Where's the line between normal game and sports game, incidentally? Do you think Neon White's a sports game?
No. What?
Oh, that's a can of worms I just opened, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Wait,
interesting.
what?
Is
I
running
feel this is a
sport?
well-sealed can. What?
Is-
Well sealed
It's got the
can.
date on it. Like, no, what? That's not.
We don't even have a
sports
can
game.
opener in this conversation. No, yeah. Is running like running through an obstacle course a sport?
Is Rocket League a sports game?
That's a driving game.
Yeah,
The
but you're
driving's a sport.
scoring.
Well, to me, sports, it's more defined by the inherent balance of turns, so to speak. So you've got like Rocket League, yeah, you can take your turns and whatnot. Whereas like a MOBA, you're gonna be winning and keep that momentum going the entire time, or anything asymmetrical. I don't liken them to the sports formula. I think more of the rule set than the actual thing they're doing. for
Okay.
sports games. Like Pong.
So is XCOM a sports game?
No. Do you take turns like that? No. Oh, wait. You do take turns in that sense, but are they sort of like equal turns? Like when you're playing football, the other guy scores, now it's your turn with the ball. How about it?
But it's not turn
Yeah,
based.
you're both
That's just like
Playing in real,
in
you're
theory.
playing it to like Rocket League. Absolutely,
Yeah.
is a sports game, right?
Sports game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pong, football games. I think you can
Right.
turn them into sports like League of Legends once you do like a best of 5,
Is Duck Hunt a sports game?
Mm. See, I hunt for survival, so
If I
So-
played Half-Life and the game had a big score at the top of the screen and I got points for everything I shot, would that become a sports game?
that's an arcade game, isn't it? Is Mario a sport game? It's got points.
there's a lot of Mario.
let's-
There are a lot of Mario sports games.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back on topic, shall we? We've got a bunch of super chats to get through before I can have my lunch.
You're the one.
Alex,
You asked me.
Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, a secret I like is Yuji Naka leaving his and other programmers' credits in Sonic 1, but it's in white and Japanese, so no one knows but him and his co-workers. And everyone who speaks Japanese, presumably, Alex Armstrong.
And all of his cellmates.
Yeah, I was thinking, he's leaving secrets in that cell.
It's like fucking
Count of Mon-
Shawshank.
yeah,
Tear down his
Count of
Yeah.
Monte Cristo in there.
That's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Just leaving cheat codes on the wall in his own shit. Penny Pony Clips gives $2 and says, should there be audio cues for path splits to secrets? No. I want to listen to podcasts. Piss off.
I like certain puzzles that use sound. I
Just
think
have a little
there's a
bit
whole
of-
area of the Witness where you need to use sound, which I will say, I was playing through the Witness absolutely as a podcast game. And so when I got to the area where you need to use sound, I was like, I just don't understand what this game wants from me.
Well, you got to play The Witness as a podcast game because there's no soundtrack. It's just very oppressive
One
silence
area,
otherwise.
all the puzzles use sound.
It's a liminal space, that. Yeah. I was watching
that's-
Scarface
yeah.
while I played that.
Unreal.
That's how they get you. Magimix 2000 gives £10 and says, not on topic, just wanted to say congratulations on your first 6 months. You'll rule. We sure do, Magimix 2000. I
Magimix.
agree.
Thank you so much.
Names Not Fits gives 20 Swedish krona and says, does Starstruck Vagabond have any juicy secrets? Well, might you ask? There are 15 hidden wonders throughout the galaxy in Starstruck
Oh, that's
Vagabond.
cool.
Oh, is that okay. Yeah. I know what
And
you're talking about.
yes, and one of the things you can do for New Game Plus is you have to find a souvenir postcard for every single one of them.
Oh, that's nice.
Do I have to keep them or just find them?
You have to keep them and get them to a specific place in order to unlock all of the game's secrets.
See, I'm so happy I'm a hoarder. I was like, I'm going to take this with me.
Are there any audio-based secrets?
Nope, unless
Is
you
Starstruck
count.
Vagabond a sport.
No,
Could
it's a
be.
work sim.
Professional.
It's a job. It's a
professional
job.
Amazon delivery boy.
Yes, Frost. I've been handing out Steam keys like there's no tomorrow, and Frost's been having a go at it.
It's fun.
Do you think it's a good game, Frost?
I like it, yeah. But people think I like weird games, so I don't know what that says.
No, you don't need to qualify it. You
said it there.
like it. You said you
Oh.
like it. That's all we need.
I guess-
The creator of the hit series Cold Take. This just in.
Yes.
Yeah, put me
Move
on the
over,
Steam
Animal Well.
page.
Star Trek Vagabonds here.
Put me on the Steam
Yes,
page.
well-known internet personality Frost heartily recommends Starstruck Vagabond to everyone.
That is true. Sports can be jobs. If passion for home sport is his job.
Oh, fuck off. Eric Wycarter comes back with 100 asses and says, you can go beyond Dark Souls-like lore. Have you tried Five Nights at Freddy's theories? I heard a guy made a fortune on YouTube with that stuff, but that is just a theory. Yeah, like the tweens are apparently really into the extended universe of Five Nights at Freddy's.
I think they just
Yeah.
like they like a sense of purpose in their media. They like being like, oh, there's something deeper here because the teens are going to realize when you grow up, there's nothing deeper to life.
It's
I
just
wonder
their,
if-
We're here for a short amount of
Yeah.
time and then we die, and that's all.
it's
I
just
wonder
their creepy pasta. It's just that age.
Yeah.
I wonder if kids these days, in this age of squeamish, won't somebody think of the children media scrutiny? That the kids these days are starved for like children's horror, like we used to get when we were kids, like fucking the Dark Crystal, fucking Never-Ending Story. Some of that was some horrific shit.
The Secrets of
in
Nim.
that. Yeah, lots of traumatizing shit, like fucking Watership Down.
Watershed. Oh, Christ alive. Yeah, they don't do that, do they? They don't
No.
have, like, hey,
No,
this is dark as hell, but it's a cartoon. So you might
Mustn't-
accidentally
yeah.
watch
I
this.
mean, they just
mustn't
have
traumatize
like,
the kids.
all media now. Like the news is way more traumatizing than it was when we were.
It's not as
kids.
entertaining.
No, it's
Kids
not.
love horror. I like was fascinated by like torture devices as a kid.
I think that's why I am ultimately very pro Five Nights at Freddy's and the Five Nights at Freddy's movie doing well, because I think this is just going to be a gateway and kids are going to get interested in this and then be like, oh, what other horror things should I check out? The Shining. And then it's like, great. If this gets a kid to read The Shining or watch The Shining, good on them.
Oh, no. This
Yeah,
is
Five Nights at
this
Freddy's
is
to The
too much.
Shining, that's a bit of a jump. I mean, when the old lady comes out of the bath, that's gonna scar a lot of people.
You thinking like my nieces of that age, they're into some freaky shit, way creepier than the stuff we were on. And it's just on the internet. We had movies, you know, we had books, we had comics that were like mass produced for us like that. Theirs is just free roaming. It's everywhere.
Ooh.
They have subreddits, creepy shit.
Subreddits, the source of all the world's evil.
Mm.
Dale Mallows gives $5. Says, I was busy last week, but it's important for you all to know the best villain is the Great Mighty Pooh. Happy anniversary, gents. I show you love with cash. Thank you, Dale Mallows.
Thank you. We need more musical games.
You just played Stray Gods, didn't you? Oh, that was Nick.
Yeah, it was. That was great. We just need more.
I assume you don't mean rhythm games, because there's plenty
No.
of those.
I mean, like musicals.
Singing.
What about a rhythm game that was presented as a musical, so you had to do the rhythm gameplay during the big numbers?
Is that not Hi-Fi Rush?
Not quite like that. Like in a musical, all the characters are singing, and that's how the plot is delivered. They're all singing like the plot to each other. But in like the standard rhythm game, the music, we're just like doing stuff in time with the background music, and it's not technically diegetic.
Did you ever play Puppeteer back on the PS3? Like,
Can't say I did.
2012. That was an interesting game. The whole thing was presented in the guise of you were watching a theatrical like puppet production, but everything was like, it was like the whole, you know, Mario 3 is a production kind of thing, but like baked into every single moment and mechanic of the game. Good stuff.
Was it a musical?
It was not a musical, no, but it was very theatrical.
Well, I think we found a niche for someone to fill.
Someone
hey,
who can
you got
sing.
listen. You need to make another game after this game. There you go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't make music. I don't know anything about making music. I get someone else to do it.
I know a musical game.
What is the
Oh
name of the game?
shit!
Songs of a Hero. Literally, the main character sings what you are doing in the game. It's a platform game.
Oh, I like that.
Huh.
That seems clever. Songs of a Hero.
See, the struggle with designing a musical game is that doing anything in like rhythm when the player is doing their own thing.
That's a
Like-
Geometry Dash, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, rhythm's a hard thing. Like, I mean, from
Oh,
even like
look at this thing.
streaming a rhythm game is hard enough. So like being able to like it's like rubbing your stomach and patting your head kind of thing.
It sings the player's actions in response to what's happening during the adventure. That's funny. Huh.
So it just goes, they jumped across the hole, then
Yeah.
jumped across the other hole. Oh, look, he's jumping across another hole. He seems to do that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's my version of Les Miserables.
That was beautiful.
Ham Anarchy gives 66.6 Norwegian kroners and says, in Skyrim, dropping a valuable onto the ground in a city can cause citizens to argue and, in rare cases, fight each other to the death over it.
That's clever.
Thanks for sharing.
I like
Didn't know
that.
that. That's cool. Who drops
Alexander,
valuables?
yeah, I mean, I need all of that to buy swords with. Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, thoughts on inside joke secrets for the devs to put in and are fun for gamers to theorize till a documentary debunks it, like Ramiro's head in Doom 2.
Good marketing.
Yeah.
Right. If I had a bunch of games that I'm making 10 years later, oh, by the way, there's this one thing you didn't find. Boom. I am now relevant again for 15 minutes.
Well, that's the fucking J.K. Rowling strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, by the
Hey,
way,
you
that's her
didn't-
secret. Hermione
Yeah.
was actually olive skin.
Yes.
This character was
Haha.
gay. Secret Mexican character.
I know there's one passage in the books where Hermione is specifically described as having white skin, but never mind. Retcon.
Mhm.
Headlines. Fox D gives $5 and says, you like the pause for getting you to the richies, so you're a F2P game where the non-payers are content for the whales. Content
Yes,
for the whales.
That sentence was fine. You read it that way.
No, I didn't. I was trying to read it normally, and his typing threw me off.
You're possessed by the ghost of an illiterate.
As a card-carrying member of the Poors, I love the Poors.
Card carrying? Yeah.
Yeah.
A true
I'm
Scotsman.
poor. Well, I'm poor by California standards.
That's
I
true.
think my house is probably the most
California lower
my house is probably the most inexpensive one on my street.
Do they look down on you in your gated community with the golden bricks?
It's not a gated community. It's just like a street that doesn't go anywhere.
Wow, you really are poor.
There would need to be a gate for it to be a gated community.
Mm.
Oh, we didn't want to deal with an HOA. Every time we
I
went to the
had one.
house, and they
I
said,
didn't know I
there's-
had one. He stuck up on me. Left a note in my mailbox. Says welcome to the HOA, and I've been here for 3
Shit.
years.
Did you forget to mow the lawn?
No, he doesn't.
Have a
For me.
new-
I
Yeah,
thought he
we've
was just a
been-
nice. I have the nicest HOA guy because if you don't keep up appearances on the outside, he just comes by and does it for you. He's been doing it for 3 years.
Oh, that's great.
What
I
if
would
you-
just stop doing everything.
What if you don't want him to?
Test the limits.
What if he wants to
think
paint your house green?
he can have it if it brings the rent down. Sure, he can do it.
Anyway. Mr. Emerald D gives $10 and says, wanted to leave a little thank you tip to the 3 best podcast hosts in the biz, the King Weeb himself, Marty, the coolest Mexican treat since the Paleta, Frost, and of course, Toffee's dad. Thank you, Mr.
Toffee's
Emerald
dad.
D. Yeah. He learned everything from me. How to fall asleep, how to lick a hand,
On his own bollocks. Yeah.
yes, and his bollocks, or lack of same. Cree, member for 5 months in the Green Gang, says press X to Yahtzee. Okay.
He did it. He
Nice.
pressed X and you said, okay,
You're a quick time of it.
if you like.
Okay. If you like. Zaratha, member for 4 months in Tip Jar.
Thanks, Arthur.
Alex Armstrong comes back with $5 and says Undertale's full of secrets, like going way back to the start after beating the final boss to see Asriel, or finding Toby Fox's room after the credits.
What's he doing in his room? I like a dev room. I like a little fourth wall breaking room where things are happening in there. Chrono Trigger had a great one. A little room where all the devs were hanging out.
Oh, we're talking Undertale secrets. Here's one I like. The character Asriel is the child of two characters called Asgore and Toriel. So their names are a combination of those two characters' names, but it's also an anagram of the word cereal. And Asriel's surname is Dreamer, which is an anagram of murderer. So her full name is an anagram of serial murderer.
Whoa.
Are they evil?
Yeah, they're the main baddie.
I don't know. I still haven't played it. I'm gonna play it this summer. This summer,
Yeah,
big summer of Undertale.
Big Summer of Undertale, same. That's all we'll talk about, yeah.
Yahtzee is get annoyed because every podcast will come out and be like, "Did you know this?" And be like, "Yes,
I found the bed. I found the bed where you can sleep and it's just a lump.
it's still you. The mirror said it's still me."
Yes. Let's see who in the chat didn't know the serial murderer thing. Maybe we can still surprise a few people.
Spoilers.
I won't remember it by the time I play it, so it's fine.
Zaratha gives $2 and says, another tip for the jar. Nah.
That's
That
good.
noise.
Okay.
That was very good.
It's good news.
Dr. Theo gives $5 and says, to clarify, you need to find secrets to beat Shipwreck 64 and they get pretty cryptic. The game opens up YouTube to give you hints on how to progress.
I looked at this game. I didn't know this existed. And this looks great. I like a game that's like, oh, it's a N64 game that never existed and may or may not be haunted. I like a nice haunt 'em up.
Possessed game.
Alright then.
Old Jumanji.
Fucking creepypasta games. Mr. McKeown gives $5 CA and says, finished, will leave the galaxy for good a few weeks back. Now considering changing my username. Why, Mr. McKeown? Did you not like the book?
Oh, no.
Because a lot of people like the book. It's got an average rating of 4.8 stars on Audible last I checked. And
Oh
everyone
my
should
God.
buy it.
Look at that.
You round up, that's 5 stars. That's a perfect book.
That's
I know.
selling.
Yes. Well,
Get fucked, James
selling.
Joyce.
Selling.
Yeah, who fucking reading James Joyce nowadays?
Nerds.
Josh Knowles gives $5 and says, restarted Fallout 4 9 times. No patience for part of grind. Glad material dupe glitch not patched. How do helpful glitches fit in the secret spectrum?
Ooh. Are glitches secrets?
I feel guilty about that.
They're exploits?
You feel guilty about glitches?
I feel guilty about using a glitch to progress instead of the way I'm supposed to, because I worry that I'll miss a load of things that the designers wanted me to see.
Yeah, depends on the glitch. Currency, souls, stuff I can control, fine. Something like, oh, I've clipped into a new zone. I was like, nah, karma's going to get me. It's going to have stopped some sequencing and I'll be stuck here forever. Don't do it, you know?
Like, I'm playing Animal Well, and I've played through the first few bits of it a few times. I had to restart it a few times. And, like, I'll start with a different area than I did last time and get, like, a different tool. And I'll go to the next area and, like, wait, I can use my tool to do this area more efficiently. But I won't want to do that because I didn't do it last time, and I know I could do it without it.
Oh,
and I'm afraid I'd miss something if I didn't go the intended route.
Fair. I mean, I think the goal on the first playthrough is just get to the credits, and then pick the meat off the bone.
Fair enough.
And then realize there is no bone. You are the bone. Pick your own
Shit.
meat off.
Oh my God.
No true Scotsman picks their own meat off.
Fuck! Did you do it right?
He might have.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, any DLC or OST purchase for Star Trek Vagabond? I'm glad you asked, Alex Armstrong. Yes, we are planning to make the soundtrack available to buy separately on launch or with the game.
Oh, see, the game's not even out yet. You're asking for more of it? OST, I get, because that's already been a part of it.
Yeah.
You add more wonders?
That's a selling point. Fuck it if you want.
Yeah.
Make your own.
Brian
BYOW, bring your own wonder.
Brian J. Lancaster gives $5 and says, finding secrets and rubbing yourself against walls is a different skill than combat. Also, I thought I beat Symphony on DS. Turns out I did not.
Oh, dear God.
Symphony's not even on DS.
Maybe they don't mean Symphony of the Night. Maybe they mean something else. Maybe they mean Eternal Sonata. I don't know.
Right.
Also, yeah. That was a hot shop on like.
That's why I like it, because it is a different skill from combat, but not so much in the survival horror ones like Neon White. You could either actually beat the game, or to find the secret, you'd have to give yourself a bad run. So it's like your brain now shifts to just this alternate mode.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It's like sports.
Like, but it all works still within the standard mechanics of the game, which is what I like about it.
Yeah.
SVSCO 2000 gives €5 and says the best thing to pair with a kilt are knee-high socks and cat ears. Maybe a tight-fitting crop top, a bell necklace. Well, then you're
And-
just dressing like a lady.
And my pipes. No, you could be a berserk and Nyan, you know.
It's true.
I've seen a lot
Scotsman.
of Scottish people in kilts with knee-high socks, though.
Yeah, with the little balls, that like the decorative ones, fuzzy ones.
You mean the sporran?
Sure, the word that you know. What is that a military getup, or can anyone dress that way? Is it stolen
kilt?
valor? No, the whole getup,
Well-
like with the fancy socks.
It's sort of more in the area of traditional countries' dress.
Ah,
You know,
okay.
like Spanish people dressing up in one of those hats with the wide
Yeah.
brims and the castanets on their fingers, or Australians dressing in hats with corks around the brim.
Oh man, this keeps the flies out, you know.
National dress, I think, is the phrase I'm looking for.
We should bring it back. I like it.
Dr. Theo gives $5 and says Payday 2 had a cool secret ending where after decrypting and solving the randomized puzzle, the game crashes and installs an update holding the reward.
Whoa.
Huh.
That would scare me. I would just assume everything broke.
I got a virus.
Ma, we gotta get McAfee on the phone.
Yeah, I think Undertale was the last game in which I tolerate the pretend the game has crashed thing. Because by the time Superhot was doing it, I was just rolling my eyes. I was like, yeah, we know you can do this. And now I'll restart the game and it will be different. Blah, 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 blah.
Too familiar of a magic trick.
Yeah. Seen the genie will not go back into the bottle. Yella gives £2 and says, Kilt's okay. No true Scotsman suffers Marty dribble.
Oh, you
Don't
guys
call it
don't
Marty
get
dribble.
you guys
call it
don't
Marty.
get like Drippy Willy syndrome as you age in Scotland. It's inevitable.
DWS.
Yeah.
Drippy Willy
Well,
syndrome.
I don't know if it matters, but I'm uncircumcised.
What do your circumstances have to do with this?
Well, I presume you'd be more likely to have a drippy problem if you were circumcised.
Sure.
Maybe. I'll ask. Yeah.
I'm excited for chat to hit the point. Chat's just about to hit the circumcision point, so I'm excited for those messages to roll on through.
The dogmatic director gives $2 and says, Sands and Flowey remember when you reset. Yeah, we know the dogmatic director. It's great.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
I don't even know who these men are.
That
Oh,
character's
Sans
in
is-
Undertale.
It's sans serif without serif.
Yeah, there you go. You internalized one fact.
Well, you don't have to say it like that. You also skipped Pattern Pike's wonderful $5
Yes, I know.
donation.
I was about to get to it.
It was banging a shitty.
Patton Pike gives $5 and says, in Steamboat Chronicles, there's stray cats around to feed, and a hidden chest surrounded by cats, and how much money in it depends on how many you feed.
Oh, that's nice.
It's like the Bioshock sisters. Yeah. That's
Mm.
cute.
Or like that, the Sorrow fight in Metal Gear Solid 3, where
Just
you
like
have to
that.
deal with all the people you killed in the course of the game.
Mm.
Jules Rowe gives €5 and says, my fave secret was that everyone played the console version of Spider-Man 2 while I played the Pooh and thought it was the same. Shout out to Eric. I think what they mean is that they played the PC version of Spider-Man 2, the movie tie-in, which was famously not the same game as the console version and a hell of a lot worse.
Oh, is that a secret? Like back in my day, yeah, we grew up with different versions of games for some reason.
I think the publishers wanted to keep it secret because it had the exact same box art.
Oh, awkward. Is it a secret in like Dark Souls where if you progress, I guess, an NPC enough, they fight with you? Because you can do that without them.
I think that's one of many things you're supposed to find out through, community knowledge building.
Interesting.
Urban M gives 25 PLNs and says, "You say streaming rhythm games is hard, but I remember Jesse Galena playing the rhythm game for Hidden Games while talking to Marty and watching chat."
That's because
Well,
everything
maybe
Jesse
he's
does is on rhythm.
maybe he's just a genius.
Also, I'm relatively sure during that stream we talked about how streaming rhythm games is hard. Streaming any game, when you watch it, if you watch someone stream a game, immediately they're playing 20% worse than they would be when they're normal. If they're entertaining you in chat, another 20%.
Yep. Forget how to function.
Yeah. People who are good while they stream games just mean they're not entertaining. There you go.
There you go.
Hot take.
Brian J. Lancaster gives $5 and says, "Oops, no Symphony on DS. Must have played it elsewhere totally legally. Also, play Brigando a Hacker. Shameless plug." If you want to plug your game, Brian, there are probably better venues to do it than here.
Then a super chat where you say that you stole Symphony of the Night. You stole the hard-earned money from Igarashi-san.
You naughty, naughty thief.
I keep thinking of the cheese, Oaxaca cheese. It's so good.
It is good cheese. Nice little crumbly white.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer a sharp cheddar. Which in England we just call cheddar.
Cheddar.
Why? Nothing sharp there? Like child
like
safety?
I have to buy like what's sold as extra sharp, ooh, crazy, really only for the purists. Don't give this to your weakling children cheese in this country because that's the closest thing to what actual cheddar is like.
Yeah, it's a soft nation. No. Gotta get that.
Soft
This
nation.
cheese will stab you. It's that sharp.
Yeah. That's what I have to buy to relive my memories of eating cheddar in my childhood home.
What do you think of our soft cheddar? Our softer ones? Our plastic?
Well, it
Kraft
works on
single?
it works on a burger because it melts without splitting. There you go. I'll give it that. Incidentally, really incredibly sharp cheddar on a burger, really good.
Oh yeah, cuts right through the mess.
Also, blue cheese on a burger I'm a fan of as well. Although that's more of an acquired taste.
Yeah, for mold, you kind of have to microdose it, build it up.
Mackie gives £5 and says, "Thanks for all the podcasts which I listen to on my commute. Marty, you said you like to Lefroig. I would recommend two others, Pete Bomb and Mortlach."
Ooh, doggy. Those are real peaty, real smoky scotches. Well, at least where Lefroy is, so I imagine Pete Bomb and Mortlock are.
You like a smoky scotch?
I do like a smoky scotch.
I'm more of a rum man myself, a spiced rum for preference.
I like a nice spiced rum.
No true Scotchman.
And if I'm making a whiskey sour, I'll usually use Jim Beam.
Yeah. I like a Jim Beam.
Or some similar bourbon.
I put both of these in my queue, my booze queue.
Booze queue. Just whatever's open, whatever's cheap. Have at it.
Whatever they sell in jug form.
Oh.
Is your booze queue related to an amuse bouche?
Ah, that was good.
Jules Rowe gives €2 and says, "I loved how you could get killed by Meryl in Metal Gear Solid." Yeah, Hideo was always a fan of the weird secret stuff that you wouldn't think to do.
Oh yeah, or doing things and then being like, "Oh, time paradox is getting thrown on the screen," or "Wait 2 weeks and the end will die of old age."
Yeah, MGS2 was full of that sort of thing as well. Like, did you know that in the bit where you're escorting Emma Emmerich and sort of watching for her through a sniper scope, you can point the directional mic at her and hear her muttering to herself?
Oh,
that's clever.
And wondering aloud if your character has real hair or if it's a wig.
What the hell?
And if you codec call her right after you hear that, Raiden gets all stroppy at her about it.
That's good. I like that.
I was expecting more of that in that Seasons game, the one with the biking and the picture taking and the recording.
Oh yeah.
I was expecting it to get creepy, but no. I'm just a sicko.
Zaratha gives $2 and goes, "TMI alert." Oh, guess we've gotten to the circumcision chat. And then Alex Armstrong saves us all with $2 to say, "Hope Marty and Frost's beards are well, and Yahtzee's too." Well, as you can see, mine's getting increasingly silver as my children stress me to an early grave. But the wife likes the salt and pepper look, She thinks it's distinguished.
She wants
you
me
go.
dead sooner. Yeah. I just go for the little goatee out here. Somebody's got to be the bad guy.
Classic. Evil Frost. What have you done? What have you done with good Frost?
Yeah, I used to rock the door knocker, where you just shave your sides.
The door knocker.
So just have a circle beard around your mouth. But then you kind of look like a vagina.
Yeah, I was about to say, something look like wipe your mouth, boy.
Oh no. Also, according to Ko-Fi Bot, we have a new subscription on Ko-Fi from Rio. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but thank you, Rio.
Crazy. Jacob Lester gives $199 and says, release Starstruck Vagabond the Yahtzee Uncut. Well, that's what you're getting, Jacob Lester. I ain't cutting anything out. It's all there.
The Snyder cut for your game. I'm ready.
We said that the outfits were too sexy, so he had to tone down the sexiness of the outfits in the game.
No.
You jest, but well, I haven't seen that, Eric. That's a nice Photoshop you got there.
That's.
Oh, look at that on Disney Channel.
I'm gonna be honest. That is a Disney Plus reference that I do not understand.
When I came up with the name Starstruck Vagabond, I remember searching on Steam for similar titles, and there was like one tiny indie game called Starstruck. But I checked again recently, and there's quite a few games with Starstruck in the title now, and I think that's because people are trying to leech off my fame, and I'm.
That's how you know you made it.
Yeah, I'm slightly flattered by that fact.
There you go.
Someone on Twitter sent me a link to a game that looked like it had been thrown together in like a week. That was just called The Vagabond Starship.
Oh,
I was like, is this you?
I gotta see this.
Yeah, you can look.
Oh my goodness!
So have you found it?
Yeah,
that's how you know you.
Scary. But I mean, who's to say though? It's like calculus was found in two different parts of the world at the same time. Who's to say that it's just not time for all you writing weirdos with your sci-fi asphyxiation? Asphyxiation. That's not
fixation.
The word.
Was that the word you were after?
Yeah, just fixation, not asphyxiation. Maybe you like being choked in space. Who knows?
Well, getting back to Drippy Willy syndrome, Foxdig is $5 and says Drippy Willy syndrome is only funny until you hit your late 40s, and peeing takes longer than pooping if you want to get every drop out. Hashtag TMI.
So you gotta ring it out, bud. Yep.
Don't ring it out. That's your pee-pee. You can't do that.
You
can't do that. Yeah. Also, Eric has informed me that Ko-Fi donation was a monthly donation from Rio. So, Rio, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rio.
We're sorry we're talking about Drippy Willies.
Hell, whatever works. The Brain Sturgeon gives €2 and says, I'm more of a Lagavulin 18 years guy myself.
That's a fancy one. That's the one. I believe that's the one. What's his name? What's the guy on Parks and Rec? Ron Swanson. There's a whole episode where for his birthday he goes to like a Lagavulin. He goes to Scotland. So
I'm a Grey Goose bought yesterday. Didn't put it in the fridge. Well.
Names Not Fits gives 100 Swedish krona and says, I found something really cool at a used game store. 100 classic books for the original DS. Everything from Moby Dick to Jane Austen and Sherlock Holmes. A bit like finding a real-life video game secret.
That's cool. The DS had all those weird non-games.
I assume all the books on it were in the public domain.
I would imagine.
Because there are apps like that. Like they pretend to be a Kindle or something. And if you download it, they just put in like 100 public domain books in there.
I should do that. Shoot.
When I remember when the DS was huge, they had like a game or like an app that you could only get at the Louvre, and it was like a tour guide of the Louvre that you would do on your DS. Weird shit. Nintendo, bring it back. Bring back more Louvre likes.
Alex Armstrong comes back again with another $5 and says, last one, Yards. You still hold the fact that Sonic's big ring secrets in 2 and 3 are bad to explore find when 1's 50 rings and reaching the end is better? Yes, Alex Armstrong, I will die on that hill.
You think?
I think it was bad. Well, I always felt that you know how in the early Sonic games you have to get all the Chaos Emeralds to win for proppers?
Right.
And in the first Sonic game, you got them by getting 50 rings in a single level, a mini game at the end of the level, and getting the emerald from that.
Come on.
But in Sonic 2 and 3, the mini games where you find the Chaos Emeralds are locked behind secrets that are hidden in the level.
Yeah, like a big ring you jump into.
So, and I thought that was detrimental because in Sonic, I want to be speeding through the level, doing all the stunts, not like arse-achingly backtracking and stopping and checking every nook and corner looking for the secret portals.
Yeah.
I think the gameplay style was served a lot better by the just find 50 rings wherever you like model.
Interesting. Yeah.
I definitely agree with that in terms of Sonic levels aren't about like poking around every nook and cranny and finding everything. It's about feeling cool and going fast.
It was never about precision. Precision jumping in Sonic is kind of a pain in the ass, which is why that one underground ruin level in Sonic 1 is like the worst level in any Sonic game. They hadn't quite fully polished the Sonic level design style. So there you go. There's my hot take. You are free to disagree, but you are wrong if you do.
I'll take it.
No true Sonic game has gameplay based around precision platforming.
Also, if you're going to Sonic explain us, you got to do it in a super chat. You can't do it in a free message. You're not allowed to.
What?
You got to pay money to talk to Sonic.
That was a $5 one.
No. That one was great. People are coming in because we clearly. I have no doubt Yahtzee and I got Sonic stuff wrong in that basket. You're fine. You're fine for us. You abstain from the Sonic talk, so you're fine. The rest of us are not.
Anyway, nearly finished now.
Still podcasting.
Brian J. Lancaster gives another $2 and says piracy is wrong. But then he would say that because he's also a game developer, apparently.
A pirate who pirated Symphony of the Night from poor Igarashi-san.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yes. If you pirate Starstruck Vagabond, then never watch any of my stuff again, you bastard. I hate you.
A true Scotsman would never pirate Starstruck Vagabond.
No true fan of Second Wind would pirate Starstruck Vagabond.
Good. You did the thing and then you made it another thing.
There you go. Fox D gives $2 and says, no true Scotsman drinks Speyside, apparently.
What is that?
That's a scotch.
Oh, okay. Oh, scotch here.
I will say no true Australian drinks Foster's. Foster's is just like the beer that's sold as the Australian beer outside Australia, but no one in Australia actually drinks it.
There's a lot of things like that. There's remember there's always that rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat. I never understood why. I lived there for like 12 years, and I was like, there's no rice anything here. What is going on?
I've never eaten rice-a-roni, and I live in the Bay Area.
You're missing out on a San Francisco treat.
Apparently. I thought the San Francisco treat was when you go to the pier with all the seals and stop at the Ghirardelli chocolate shop and
get a little free chocolate.
Order one of their enormous sundaes.
I really expected a glory hole joke out of you. I'm proud of you.
I just like chocolate. I just reminded myself that I want to go back to the Ghirardelli cafe and eat their chocolate sundaes. Did I mention I'm on a diet? I've had to cut back on my sugary treats.
That's 500. Are you still at the 500?
Yes, I'm still on the 500 calories limit a day for sugary treats, and it's kind of making me very antsy.
Not for your birthday and your game launch, though. Those don't count. Birthday Sundays don't count.
I get to have cake on my birthday, I hope.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Blistered Soul gives $4.99 and says, first, Jack and Daxter, tutorial level. If you tilt the camera right, you can see Precursor Robots, the final boss, built into the rock, secret in plain view.
That's cool.
I mean, I just like that. And was it Dark Souls? You can always see the bosses coming. There's a few, actually. The enclosed ones, like Pikachu and Snorlax, you can't see them. I don't think so.
Yeah, in some Dark Souls boss fights, you can use your bow and arrow to kill them before you even enter the boss fight. If you're a scrub.
Fire Bridge Dragon. Nah, well invested in arrows is what I did.
You could do that with Manus, Father of the Abyss. If you were a scrub and couldn't handle beating the boss fairs and squaresies.
It's dark down there. They can clip through the fucking walls. This is how we keep things fair.
Anyway, Names Not Fits comes back with 20 Swedish krona and says, maybe it was published by HarperCollins, only €1, referring to the DS game with 100 books on it.
That's only €1. Nice little cheapie.
Well, if it's public domain books, then it's too expensive. Yeah. You can just go online to find public domain books if you want them.
What a steal, he says.
But you can't read them on two screens that are sort of close to each other, but still have some plastic between them.
No, you can just read it on literally any other device in the world.
Well,
Anyway, Fox D gives $2 and says mission style burritos, the San Francisco treat.
Oh my god, so good.
California burrito.
Holy Moses.
Got put fries in them. Crazy.
Oh,
it's a tube full of carbs. It's great.
I do like putting fries in a burrito.
That's excessive.
I just ask you not put cilantro in a burrito because I'm one of those people with the gene that makes cilantro taste weird.
Yes.
So there's a lot of
cilantro does nothing to me. I don't taste it one way or another.
There's a lot of Mexican cuisine that I don't like for that reason. That's why I tend to get quesadillas a lot when we go to Chipotle.
There you go. On top of Chipotle just being gross.
Yeah. Fungus Finder gives $2 and says, Y'all, I dozed off. Could you do the podcast again? Thanks. No, because we're finished now. We're going to piss off.
We did it.
Yay. Another great podcast in the can. Oh, and then Eric comes back with 20 arses and says, Congrats, you reached the last dono for now.
That's a little Easter egg.
Boy, thanks for paying to be the producer of this podcast, Eric. That you've got some real team spirit there.
It's because he's showing off his 5th anniversary. I don't know why. His is broken. I love it.
Yeah.
That's how I knew the other Eric was a fake. Didn't have the actual seal of approval.
Anyway, thanks for listening to us bang on about something that was originally about secrets, but then ended up being about Drippy Willies. I was Yahtzee Croshaw, and I'm not a Scotsman, but I'm related to Scotsman. Yeah. And I have a weekly video that I call Fully Ramblematic that comes out on the Second Wind channel. It's sort of like another series you might know called Zero Punctuation, but assuredly legally distinct. Anyway, I got one of those coming out this week, which will be on the subject of Stellar Blade, a game about a hot girl with her bum out.
Is her name Stella Blade?
Yes.
Great.
Stella Bum, they should call it.
Oh. I actually don't know. Is her name Stella? Though I would have named that character Stella.
No. The main character's called Eve.
That's lame.
She's a lone lady in a post-apocalyptic world, and her name's Eve. And guess what? She's got a male support character, and you'll never guess what his name is.
If it's Adam, I'm fucking never coming back to this podcast.
Gary.
It is absolutely Adam.
I was expecting them to at least go for Seth, but sure.
To think otherwise would be to give Stellar Blade far too much fucking credit, apparently.
Tragic.
Anyway, that's a little taste of this week's Fully Ramblematic. There'll also be Yahtzee Tries, where I stream 2 new indie games, and Christ, I've got a lot to pick from at the moment. They're just streaming out onto Steam, those indie games right now. Mm-hmm. Just save some room in your tummies for pudding when Starstruck Vagabond comes out. Yeah.
Pudding.
And all that. Anyway, Frost, plug your stuff.
My stuff, we just had a Cold Take come out today talking about why the bad things happen. We've talked about how the bad things happen and what the bad things are, but this time, why? The question everyone asks after a tragedy. Why me, dear God? Probably because you touch yourself too much at night. And then what else we got going on, Marty?
All sorts of things. Later today, 6 p.m. Central, the Hidden Gem crew will be back with Witchfire. Firing your witches. I think that's the early access gothic action game by the Astronauts, the developers of Bulletstorm and Painkiller, and
that finally came out, didn't it?
Stuff like that. That came out. It's in early access still. It's not all.
Oh dear God, never
not
mind.
fully accessed. So they'll be checking that out. Should have normal-ish streams for the week. Stuff's a little bit in flux. No DMC because we finished Devil May Cry, and Casey's gonna be gone the back half of the week. However, Thursday and Friday we should have 2 pretty fun sponsored streams that we will let you know about when we have those locked down. But all 3 of us will be on those the Thursday and Friday ones. So check those out, and then we should have more bite size. Check out last week's on Indica and Animal Well, and we have more coming up this week, including the aforementioned Crow country.
Thanks for reminding me I need to install that thing for Thursday's stream that I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Christ, 4 more super chats came in. What a cheeky bunch. Pure87 gives 20 Danish krona and says, you are still going at it. Damn. Loved cold take. Fungus Finder gives $2 and says, Yahtzee, why do you mention sparrows so much? I don't know, because they are common birds.
Do you?
Not that I recall, but whatever.
Common motifs tend to be sweets.
All right.
He's got to think about them.
SVSGO 2000 gives €2 and says people who use subtext are all cowards in reference to Garth Marenghi. And then Shrocat gives $1.99 and just gives us a bunch of emojis or something. I don't know. All right, we're done. I got to piss off.
Popper and a heart. Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your days. Happy Mother's Day, day after Mother's Day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.